Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to Empires SMP. I hope you're all having a good day. I am having a very good day. We are, as you can see, as you saw from the intro here, really doing well with the drowned farm. In fact, I've spent a bit of time clearing out some of the tridents that I had in here. You can see already how many drowned I have been through lately. We have a whole lot of rotten flesh, a whole lot of drowned heads, a little bit of copper coming in that, once again, is now freshly converted and down in the bowels of my empire, aging. And I think I am probably going to spend a little bit more time using Riptide to get around my kingdom, to get rid of my reliance on firework rockets a little bit, because while they are useful, gunpowder is currently the tool of my enemies, and I kind of want to avoid trading with my enemies if at all possible. I've been getting gunpowder occasionally by defending the desert from creepers or going caving to acquire more copper, so I'm able to manufacture firework rockets on my own, and a modest amount of sugarcane planted around the rivers around here is supplying me with paper, so that's not really a problem. But I think Riptide is a little bit more my speed. With tridents on my side, I think I'll be able to get around my kingdom nice and easily. And the kingdoms of our allies, of course, the Codfather, for example. We can get around the swamp no problem. There's so much water around there that I can use. And I've been thinking about expanding my empire a little bit, expanding the river around here first of all, and having a bridge spanning the river so that we can build a bit more of a settlement on the opposite side, and expanding out in different ways in the desert. So I think I'm going to spend a fair amount of this video working on expanding my empire, getting a bit more stuff built, getting the river expanded, making the river a little bit more uniform as well, because there are sections like this where it is choked off by the land and then ends up widening a little bit further afield. If you take a look down the river over here, it is much wider closer to the areas where I haven't even built along there, and along this side the dunes kind of close in on it. And I'm thinking we need to do something about that, make the river a little wider, and even make it possible for boat travel across the entirety of our empire, or Riptide travel if I feel like taking the shorter route. But to expand the empire in terms of buildings, we need a bit more building material, and I have been in touch with some of the other empires. You might have to watch their videos to see how these discussions unfolded, but I finally got in touch with the ruler of the Undergrove. The gnome Shrub has brought me some mushrooms. Oh, and some bone meal that I can grow them with as well, and some warped roots. Fantastic. So thank you so much, Shrub, for those. I'll be making a little bit more warped wood with those, because I really think the warped really works well in the build palette I'm working with around here. It goes so well with the copper, and I traded some quartz to Shrub in exchange, because I'm not really using much quartz around here except for the redstone stuff. Speaking of which, I need to take a look at the copper down here and see how much of it still needs to age. It's still so odd to me how the occasional block will be completely surrounded by fully oxidized copper and has yet to start aging. But that's the way these things go. Anyway, I'm not going to worry too much about it. We will recall the copper another time. For now, I think it's time to start working on the river.
Pix.
What's
Pixel,
up?
I've come here. I gave you some terracotta a while ago. Do you remember?
Yes.
Where's my copper? This is a ransom.
Oh,
ransom.
okay. I left a note in the balloon, assuming it was just going to fly back to your kingdom every so often, but apparently it hasn't made the trip yet.
I'll have to go have a look.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get in touch with that, but I heard there was a royal engagement on the way, so
yeah, there is.
I assumed that you were too busy with that to come and collect, as it were.
I probably should have checked this. That's my bad. Let me see if I can get up there.
I mean, we're already practicing your elytra skills, so you should be able to, right?
I'm gonna set my respawn point because I have a feeling something's gonna go wrong.
I've been adding candles to the vigil every time you've died, and it's happened more often than I expected.
The note. Name your price. Okay, you know what? I'll come back to this later, and I'll let you know my price. Me and Pearl are doing some flying at the moment. She's teaching me, and as you can tell, she's a very terrible teacher. I've died a lot.
I'm glad.
I'm not a terrible teacher. You're just a terrible learner.
I think the key is getting a good takeoff, and I've honestly found having a Riptide Trident for that is pretty handy. Cause
whoa, show off for us now.
I'm not even using fireworks anymore. I'm just doing this.
Oof.
And so
you didn't go very far though.
No, yeah, I mean, you got to engage the wings once you're up there, and then.
That was graceful.
Right
you get a pretty decent.
Beautiful.
You get to do a barrel roll as you take off, and if you land like on the surface of the water in fly mode, you get so much height. It's actually it's pretty good.
And the main thing is it looks really cool, and I'm jealous of that. I might have to get myself one of them tridents.
The trident fireworks combo is even better because you get to fly straight up in the air and then you just like shoot off in one direction like this.
Pearl's about to set me a challenge, Pixel. She wants to know if you want to try it as well. I've got a
sure,
somewhere.
I'm up for it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's give it a go, shall we? Okay, so the
Yes.
test for Pixel's area is, you see that smokestack building over there?
Yeah.
And you see that little sandstone window just above the copper?
Wait.
Kind of like it's like a cross, but the two sides are trapdoors.
I'm going to go and stand there just for demonstration purposes.
Yeah, Pix might know what I'm talking about.
I'm confused. Where is it?
Not up there. So it's the window midway on the building.
Oh, there. Okay.
That.
Yeah, that one.
So fly through that and to the other side and out.
All right, I'll go first because I'm the master at this. Oh!
Oh, no, he failed. I saw that.
Walk of shame.
You want to give it a go, Pix?
Absolutely. I've been training for this very moment.
Let's see it.
Oh,
Didn't quite get it.
Falling at the second hurdle.
Oh, he's mastered it. Absolutely beautiful, smooth, everything you'd ever want to see.
I actually failed at that time. I got it smooth the first time I picked it, alright? I've been messing up all of the ones on camera, and all the ones off camera were just fine.
I'm either too high or too low. That's my problem.
It seems
Yeah,
like
it's better
the
to get like
trainee has become the master. That is me.
Oh no, one mastery doesn't equal full master.
There we go.
Do a
Got
few
it
more
on the
years for
third
that.
try. Third try lucky.
There we go. I
Third
got mine on
time's the
second
charm.
try. All right. Perfect. That was the challenge for Pix's area. We're gonna move on now, though.
All right. See you later, Pixel. I'll get in contact about the copper.
Best of luck, yes, and I'll be ready with more candles to add to the vigil if you fail any more of these challenges.
We've only got one more to go. I think you hopefully should be okay.
All right. Have fun, folks.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Catch you later. Hey folks, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the time lapse. The river here has expanded, although I still need to do so much work. Hand shaping a river like this is really quite tedious, but it's going to be worth it in the end. And yes, I have used a couple more rockets just to kind of reassert my course as I fly around here. This section here is still looking really flat, but that's where the bridge is going to connect from one side to the other. I've been doing a little bit of landscaping with moss, just making sure that the banks of the river look nice and fertile before they end up kind of dwindling into the sandy, arid environment of the rest of the desert. And here is the change I think I'm happiest with. I split the river in two different directions as we widened this bend. There's actually a channel through there that you could go through, making this section here into more of an island. And in fact, it feels a little bit more like a roundabout or a roundabout, I guess, because the boats might be able to pass each other if one went one way and one went the other way. Who knows? I don't really know if I've figured this out in terms of boat transport, but what I want to do is have boats floating on the water in between these two banks here, maybe around the area where the bridge is. We're going to have a sort of floating market here eventually, and the plan is that while I am away from the server, whether I'm making other series at the time or if I take a holiday or whatever, the other empires are going to be able to come over to these boats, and effectively they're going to function like shops. They'll be able to trade goods for reasonable prices, not for a diamond-based economy, but at least so that they can pick up maybe a handful of copper blocks and leave me a handful of gunpowder or something like that. Whatever they feel like trading, it's going to be available to them on this barge, no questions asked. It's almost going to be sort of like a floating market for my kingdom is the idea. But I need to wait for a few people to get off the server so that I can really have the most effective XP farm over at the Drowned Farm and get myself a little bit more repair done on stuff like the shovel. I've been using the smelter in here, but it has honestly run out of XP at the last set of repairs, and I could go and trade with villagers. I've got a decent amount of rotten flesh to trade, but I have other things to take care of, namely this. The Vigil needs updating. It has kind of gone neglected for a little bit too long, and thankfully some kind folks in the comments section have been helping me keep up with all of the deaths on the server. So we need to revise the death count for every member, and we need to come up with a permanent solution for the problem of people dying too much. Joel has died twice in the time it's taken me to make this video, which was about 3 hours worth of terraforming on the river. So it's actually pretty funny how often he dies. He's a little accident prone, but what that means is we need to come up with a system that's going to replace, I think, batches of 12 candles every time somebody dies to the maximum amount that I've got space for here, which I think should be 12, these like 3 areas here being 3 batches of 4 candles. I think we need to add a lantern above here, and it's going to be a lantern attached to a piece of wool, kind of making it look like a paper lantern like I explained to Joey in the previous episode. But first of all, we're going to deal with the deaths of people who don't need me to make up new numbers, namely starting with Flip, who has died 9 times so far. So that's adding another one to that stack of 3 that was there. We'll add 3 on this side, and we'll add 2 on that side. I'm pretty sure that adds up to 9, if my maths is correct. Now, when Joey last came to visit, I only had 3 candles here, but it turns out he has died 10 times, so we need to update his candles to 10. PearlescentMoon has died 1 more time, making her total 11. We're almost in need of a lantern for Pearl. We need to add 1 candle for Lizzie, who has died 1 more time since we last updated this. Catherine, oh, poor Catherine, has died 10 times since the first candle was placed, so we need to add this to go all the way up to 11. Dang it, Joel! Alright, I need to add 1 more. 1 more candle for Joel while I am updating everybody else. Mythical Sausage has now died 14 times in total. For somebody who has an Assassin's Guild, he has a pretty poor track record of staying alive, and now we need to add 2 more candles onto the post here for Mythical Sausage. We'll be swapping those out for a lantern a little bit later. The other person who has crossed the lantern mark is our dear friend the Codfather, who is now up to 13 deaths, so 1 more than I have room for in this section here. Scott's Major has still only managed to die twice, and I'm not certain how he's doing that, aside from maybe staying out of trouble. Gemini Tay is now up to 6, and last of all, we have to add candles for our dear new friend Shrub, who has died 4 times, and now I need to go around and light all of the ones that are not currently lit, and we need to do something about the players who have died a little bit more than I currently have room for. So like I said, I think the way we're going to do this is once an empire has accrued enough deaths that it's larger than 12, we put up a lantern above here, and it can be a little bit closer to the Vigil, a little bit further away, but we're going to end up placing a green wool here that's going to represent a paper lantern that's flying out above the Vigil, and on all 6 faces of it, we're going to put some of these glow item frames, which actually have a really nice look to them. Oh, thank goodness, Joel has just logged out, so hopefully we shouldn't have to deal with any more deaths added to the Vigil. And here's a cool fact I didn't realize until I started playing around with this. The chain of a lantern isn't actually part of its hitbox, so we can put an item frame underneath there, and the lantern isn't going to pop it off. And what that means is we can add something underneath to make it look like the lantern is connected a little bit more with the paper lantern structure above. So we can add a block in there, and we could even add decorations to the sides if we wanted to, but I think that is going to do. So this accounts for 12 of the Codfather's deaths, meaning I can take away all of these candles and then just add one below. And that is representative of the fact that he has now died 13 times. And that way I don't have to invent new places to put candles. Some people suggested putting candles floating in the air and everything, but I like the fact that the lantern is basically like a larger version of the candles, representing a larger number of deaths. We have one more of these to do around this side for Mythical Sausage, of course, so we can put a black wool in a similar kind of location floating above the rest of this. And even though black is not exactly a color that would let a whole lot of the light through, we're still going to add glow item frames to it, and maybe under this one we will add a soul lantern instead of a regular lantern. There we go, that's going to look nice. I'm going to try and find a block that goes with the Empire a little bit, so we've got a blackstone underneath there for Mythical Sausage. And now we move on to Joel. Joel has died a total of 65 times so far on the server, so we actually need 5 lanterns for him, and I have a feeling I've actually run out of leather to make glow item frames, so I might need to go and kill a few cows in the neighborhood to finish the job here, but we need to have 5 lanterns up here for him, and then a few candles down on the ground. I think we're going to need 5 candles to remain lit around this area, so that's going to be a bit of a move. Oh yeah, and we can remove Mythical Sausage's candles as well, so there are just going to be 2 there to signify that he has died 14 times, 12 plus 2. And there we go, I just about managed to get enough item frames together, scraping together all of the leather that I had and even adding in some rabbit hide to make it work, but we finally have all of these lanterns lit and flying with Mesallian terracotta supporting the lantern flying underneath. And at last, our vigil is once again accurate. We can light the last of these candles, and that will do. But this is providing quite a nice vibe to the center of town. I was kind of hoping for the paper lantern look to work out for us, and maybe we need to reorient some of these so they are flying a little bit further out. I think that one could probably do with going out in that direction a little way so it's not blocking the view of the vigil, but I like it. I like it as a system of counting. Certainly saves me a lot of dye that I would be spending coloring all of these candles. But with all of this work I've been doing in the area, that has given the copper field a little bit more time to age, and it looks like this latest harvest is all complete, so I'm going to pull the lever. I've wired up a brand new area for the retrieval lever over here, and yep, that activates the machine, bringing everything on back, and hopefully we should be able to trade this with some of our allies. But in the meantime, we can work on a little bit more infrastructure, and I've started on this bridge across the river. Started, not quite finished yet, because it's looking pretty good from this angle, and I really like being able to use lightning rods for stuff like the kind of bridge supports and stuff like that. I think that's looking pretty good. I'm not certain if I want to keep the sandstone walls there or swap them out for a different color of wall, something that's going to be a little bit darker under there, give it some contrast and depth and whatnot, but I have not quite finished the path, because building these paths is a slow process. It goes to about there and then stops. But hey, mushroom blocks are a really good way to outline these. A block that is very easy to just and take away with a Silk Touch axe. But yeah, I think we're going to work a little bit more on the bridges around here, and then the land beyond the bridge is going to be a little bit more residences, a little bit more gardens, and maybe a couple of other bits and pieces besides. This also gives me a great excuse to update the maps that have been inside of my house, because of course since I last updated this, we have a couple of new features. The bridge is going in, we have the statue over there with the totems. I don't know if any more totems have arrived, but I've got 4 right now. I keep 1 on me and the rest are in my ender chest. And the King of Mesallia should be paying us a visit at some point to let me know exactly what he wanted in exchange for the terracotta. I feel like we can probably spare some copper, even though I'm building with pretty large amounts of it over on the bridge. I do have a decent amount in storage now, so hopefully we should be able to make some big money deals with our allies. But the other thing the Drowned Farm has been getting us is Nautilus shells, and I am now down to only 2 Hearts of the Sea that have yet to be combined into conduits, and I have 15 conduits going spare. I wanted to make sure one of them could get used to dig out some of the bed of the river there, because having a conduit and aqua affinity does allow you to mine a lot faster underwater, and if it's not as fast as the beacon, then I can just move the beacon over to my second base over there and be able to dig out the entirety of this riverbed with conduit power so I don't have to come up for air every time. And after that, we should hopefully have a nicer looking river. I'm not sure how much I want to terraform around the outside here. If I had the time, I would go and get a bunch of soul soil and fill in the banks of the river as though the sand is cascading down here and mixing with a bit of dirt and silt and that kind of stuff at the bottom of the river and stirring all of that up. But it's a long area, a pretty large area to cover in soul soil. I'm not certain I will have the time, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. So I'm going to take some time to finish off the bridge here, and on the opposite bank of the river, we're going to mirror the podiums and the pylons that we've got on this side. I might put a conduit in all of them this time around, but I do like the glowberry variant of this, and it is a lot cheaper to produce than the conduit ones. But I feel like showing off at this point. I think we've got enough conduits to give it a go, and maybe we can put something like a lighthouse on that tower over there. Aha! The King of Misalia logs in. Maybe he'll be coming over a little bit later to argue about those terracotta prices, but in the meantime, I'm going to keep building, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Now this feels like a bridge. This definitely feels like a bridge. I went back and forth on decorations for a while. Wanted to use flower pots in some way, and then figured we could have them on top of these acacia fences. And from the side, of course, that really complements the copper color very nicely. We've got all the lightning rods in place, and I think the bridge came out a treat. It's looking a little different to your standard, like, archway bridge designs, but I like that about it. I think it kind of stands out here across the river, and it's a river that we have done a lot to today. If we take a look at it from the air, you can kind of, you can get the impression of where all of this is going. Over to the other side, which we've landscaped to be a little bit lower so that we can see out over our kingdom from the central seat of power in the middle here, with a few ornamental gardens and things besides. Lots of work still to do, and still got to clear out the riverbed, still got to talk to SmallishBeans and the Ocean Queen about the trades I want to do with them. But I think for today, that is probably where we are going to leave it. I do want to very quickly update the map just to make sure that this is entirely accurate, and I guess we better bring the other side with us as well, because we've got pylons on both sides of the bridge here. So the bridge currently just kind of ends around there. That seems like it's updated fully. Let's whip out the other map just to make sure. Yep, we got the other pylon in there as well. And I will probably round off those pedestals and do a couple of other bits and pieces with the decor around there. But already it looks like Pixandria is expanding, and we'll see what we can do with the rest of this river and the buildings around here a little bit later. But folks, thank you so much for watching this episode of Empires SMP. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.